Welcome everybody to another episode of Dave's Movie Dailies. Happy belated Easter. It's a day after Easter, Resurrection Sunday. It was an amazing day yesterday. Actually, I had an amazing weekend this whole Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But yes, coming back to speak about some movies that I've seen that I should have talked about a while ago. I've taken some time off. I've disappeared for a while. But yeah, the movie that I'm going to talk about today, I'm going to be talking about two movies. I'm going to break it into two pieces just like I always do. So I'm going to shoot one now and then I'm going to shoot the next one after. So yeah, the movie that I'm going to talk about is if you see me looking down, it's because I'm looking at my notes. So yes, the movie that I'm going to talk about now is the 2025 The Wolfman, which is directed by Leigh Whannell, who is very well known for the Saw series, and he's done a lot of other films directing. He's actually acted in them too and all that stuff. So yeah, he's taking a director's chair for this one. So it was released in January 17th, 2025. Which was way earlier. So right now, probably the only place you can find them is on streaming, which would probably be Prime Video or Fandango. I don't think you can see it in the movie theaters anymore unless they do a re-release. But yes, this film serves as a reboot to the Universal Monsters, The Wolfman. Okay. The Universal Monsters, The Wolfman in 1941, which had a numerous amount of sequels and a 2010 remake, which starred Benicio del Toro. But that movie suffered and became a box office flop with a budget of $150 million, but brought in $142.6 million. So they were trying to with this reboot, they thought that with this remake, they thought they were gonna cash in on all the money because of the fact that, now you redo things and then on top of it, you start movie universes and all that stuff. People were at that time, eating up everything that they put out. So 2025's Wolfman reboot, not a remake, a reboot. It reboots the franchise with a modern telling of the Wolfman, starring Christopher Abbott, Julia Garner, who you'll see next in the Silver Surfer of the Fantastic Four: First Steps, and Sam Yeager, produced by Blumhouse Productions. If you know anything about Blumhouse, they most of their movies are centered on horror movies and scary movies or thrillers or stuff like that, and they're very well known. So when they took this up, I was like, are they really? Because the thing is, Wolfman, Dracula, all those movies aren't really scary anymore. It was announced in 2014 and was to be a part of the late Dark Universe shared cinematic universe created for the Universal Monsters that were infamous back in those days. Back in the day, they had planned to do a dark universe, which was like the Universal's answer to Marvel Cinematic Universe or DC's Cinematic Universe or Toho Cinematic Universe. So they wanted to do their own cinematic universe too. So they tried to do it with, I believe it started off with Dracula Untold, but that flopped. So they decided to redo it, to start it with The Mummy, Tom Cruise's The Mummy, which was in 2017's The Mummy, and that proved to be a huge flop. And so Universal decided to scrap the whole plans and the plans of the Dark Universe, and they decided to concentrate on doing Universal Monsters standalone films. So in 2020, they did The Invisible Man, and The Invisible Man is kind of, even though he's just invisible and he's just a man, they kind of put him up there with the Universal Monsters. So the 2020's Invisible Man brought in great success. So it kind of rekindled Universal's interest in indulging themselves with these type of monsters again, and try to restart these franchises. So Ryan Gosling, who is well known, Ken. And he's done many other movies. He pitched an idea for kind of like a reboot or a remake of The Wolfman, and he was going to star in it. So he had this whole interpretation that he was set to play, and Derek Clarence was supposed to be the director who took the chair, but unfortunately, Derek Clarence stepped down, and soon Ryan Gosling stepped down as well. So Leigh Whannell, who was writing it, came in and he stepped up as director. So the movie's about this family who is in a remote farmhouse somewhere in mid America, and they're attacked by some sort of wild animal. As the night ensues, the father, who was injured by this creature, soon experiences and starts to exhibit sporadic attacks that begin to transform him slowly into something unrecognizable. Now, those are my notes. Now, these are my thoughts. I'm a fan of anything Wolfman like. I remember ever since I was a kid, I always, if I was to choose a monster that I wanted to be, I would always say that I would be some kind of a werewolf. You know, I loved An American Werewolf in Paris, An American Werewolf in London. I loved any Wolfman movie, anything like that. I loved the Underworld movies, all that stuff. I ate it up. I saw the 1941 Wolfman movie, which was, a man who starts growing hair and he starts running around and all that stuff. And okay, that was when Lon Chaney. And then I saw the Benicio del Toro movie. I've seen so many werewolf movies. The Benicio del Toro movie was a good interpretation. It was a good remake of the 1941 Wolfman. But when I saw this film, it's like watching. I don't know if you remember the Fly with Gina Davis and yeah, this man who he experiments from going from a vessel to vessel. He's like transported himself. He ends up a fly ends up going inside his like little bunker or whatever, and he ends up mixing his DNA with a fly as he transfers, right? So he starts to become this, they call him the Fly, but he just becomes this like blob. I remember that movie. I was like, he looked so weird and he didn't look like a fly to me. I remember, I know that in the original movie, the black and white version, that guy kind of looked more like a fly because he had like the head of a fly and all that stuff. But in the remake with Jeff Goldblum and Gina Davis, he just looked like this decrepit mess, I guess. And then he started climbing walls and all that stuff. Now, imagine that in a wolf movie. Like, this man, okay, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen the movie, you got 5 seconds to stop it right here. Go watch the movie and come back. If not, then you've been warned. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Did I just go 2, 1? So this man, obviously, they go, he's out there with his wife and kid, and and they are going to this farmhouse. I forget who they're visiting, and then all of a sudden they get knocked off because I think as a matter of fact, they try to avoid a deer, and they end up falling over this cliff or whatever. Eventually, like he's trying to get his family to safety, but this creature comes, attacks him, and he ends up slashing him. As time goes by, he starts to exhibit all these like different sporadic vision problems. He starts acting like an animal and all that stuff. In the final fight, you see the main wolf man and him go at each other. But they look like the Fly. Like it was like unrecognizable to be a wolfman. Yes, eventually they start to show hair and they start moving like with wolf-like manners. But to get to that point, he was constantly going. Like it wasn't like American Werewolf in Paris where he starts to transform into a wolf and they get the Boku snouts and teeth and all that stuff, or in American Werewolf in London, the same thing. You get that whole beautiful transformation. He turns into this big hairy beast. In this one, he was just they transform into these like hideous creatures, and then eventually they started to grow their teeth and all that. And I thought that was, if they were, I guess they were trying to approach it in a horrific type of way. Just to show the pain that he was going through and all this other stuff. Like I love the transformation in Underworld, in the Underworld series. I don't know. I guess to me it just is like from a scale of 1 to 10, I give it a 3, 4. I wasn't too much I wasn't too much of a fanatic of this movie. I sat there. It wasn't scary. It was literally boring because you're going through this guy's whole transformation thing, and I get it. This was kind of like the beginning of this. I guess the telling of this story or the reinterpretation of this Wolfman and all that stuff. I'm pretty sure there was people out there who liked it because they get involved in that. But me, I've studied this stuff for so long that I can see makeup. I can see all this stuff. So I want to be entertained. I knew this movie wasn't going to be like an Academy Award winning type of film, but I wanted to be entertained. And for the most part, when you watch it once, I guess that's the only entertainment that you get, because after that, I don't think I can watch that more than once. There's movies out there that I like to watch more than once. Like I love to watch Romeo and Juliet, Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet, or Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man, Andrew Garfield, not the other ones. There's a lot of movies, Zoolander. These are movies that I like to watch over and over because I know they're not going to win any Academy Awards, but I know that they're going to entertain me for the time. But this movie just did not do it for me. Like I said, I give it a 3 or 4, and that's because I ended up liking Julia Garner. I mean, I don't know how I'm going to like her as a Silver Surfer, but I fell in love with her. And for the most part, it was entertaining for a bit, but it's not a movie that I would want to watch again. But that's pretty much it. But yeah, this has been Dave D. Saints with another Dave's Movie Dailies. When I just reviewed The Wolfman 2025, I will be back shortly with the other video. Have a good one.